Hey lovelies, and welcome to this week's video. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about feelings. So that can be a little bit scary, but I promise it's not. We're starting off really gently, and we're not talking about anything too deep today. We're just going to be talking about how you want to feel and a little exercise of how we can kind of empty your head of all of these kind of maybe conflicting feelings, trying to figure out what will make you feel happy, what's making you feel not so happy. And it's just all about, today is just all about getting all of that out of your head, maybe into a notebook or onto paper, and turning it into something positive that you can learn from rather than something that's just stuck in your head or that you've been obsessing about. So, this is kind of a self-work exercise, if you like. So I'm going to ask you, how do you want to feel? Not how do you feel right now, but how do you want to feel? In an ideal world right now, how do you want to feel? That might be a bit tricky to answer. That's fair enough, because sometimes we can be so involved in like what's going on and or obsessing about what might happen or what's happened in the past, and we're kind of muddled up and stuck in all these feelings, and that's what we're going to try and unpack today. So how do you want to feel? So what might be, you might find a slightly easier question to answer right now is, how do you not want to feel? So clearly none of us want to feel stressed. None of us want to feel tired. None of us want to feel unhappy or unmotivated or anything like that. So if that's how you don't want to feel, then think of the opposites, and that's how you want to feel. So kind of need to unpack it in your own way. And this may not be a 5-minute exercise. This is something that you may want to sit down and really take some time on, which I do encourage. It isn't about quick answers and quick fixes. This is about unpacking what it is that you want, basically, and how you want to feel. And that's a massive thing. That's a really important thing. So when you start to think about how you want to feel and what needs to happen or what can happen to enable you to feel that way, it can seem a bit overwhelming. So that's why we're going to do this very simple exercise. And again, you don't need to do it right now, but it's something to take on board. It's something to try out and spend as much time as you can on it, because sometimes when we think about, okay, I wish I could feel happy, or I wish I could feel content with what I have, or it just seems like a mile away, and you don't really know how you're going to get there, and you kind of think, oh well, this can't happen, this can happen. We're sometimes thinking a bit too far ahead, or we're blowing things out of proportion, or we're thinking of things that are too big rather than thinking of all the little things that can happen along the way to help it become a reality. Because in honesty, we can all feel a way that we choose to feel if we're willing to do the inner work that goes with it and put in the effort. It all comes from inside you. No one can make you feel a certain way. I know I've talked about this before. I know I've talked about this on videos, and I've talked about it on my podcast as well, about we have reactions to things and we have natural human instinct to things. We have these flight or fight responses that we can't control. But there are elements of it that we can control, and we can choose how we deal with that reaction. We can choose then how we can then consciously react and how we want to feel. But these are things that take practice. It isn't something that necessarily comes naturally, and sometimes takes a little bit of effort and forethought put into it. So this very simple exercise that I wanted you to try out, when you're comfortable to do so, when you're able to do it in a time where you're going to be uninterrupted and you can really spend a bit of time thinking about things. So you just need a piece of paper, your journal, a notebook, whichever you want to write this down in, and divide the page in half. So on one half of the page, we want to get out of your head how you feel right now, and maybe some of those things that we don't want to feel. So that's but a bit of a mind splurge of, I don't want to feel stressed, I don't want to feel tired, I don't want to feel overwhelmed. This might be how you're currently feeling, or it might be things that you just don't want to happen. So put all those things in that column about how you do not want, feelings that you don't want to hold on to, maybe some feelings that you want to release, maybe there's some baggage that you've been carrying for a while and you just think, I don't want to feel that anymore, I want to get over this. Put all of that in your first column. This is, and try not, and just let it flow. It might not make completely coherent sense on paper. That's okay. This isn't for anybody else to read. This is for you only. If you understand it, that's the important thing. You know what it relates to. That's what matters. So splurge it out. It may bring some emotions to the surface. It may make you feel emotional. Feel it. Don't try and push that away. This is an important part of the process. If feelings come to the surface that you're not very comfortable with and they might make you feel a bit wobbly, it's okay. Take a break if you want to. But allow yourself to feel those feelings, because they're there for a reason, and they're there because it's something that you need to maybe work on a bit deeper beyond what we're going to talk about in today's video. But it's important to recognize them. It's important to address that they're there, because only then can you start to work on them, rather than pushing them down and pretending they're not there. And no matter how long you do that for, they're going to keep popping up saying, like, you need to deal with me, you need to deal with me, and you'll keep pushing them down. They'll never go away. Those sorts of things are persistent. They're going to be there for as long as you allow them to be, basically. So get all of this out, do a bit of a mind splurge. You may want to take a break afterwards if it's made you feel a bit emotional or a bit drained. Totally fine. Now, the other side of the page is going to be something much more uplifting. The other side of the page is going to be all of those things that you want to feel. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel happy. I want to feel content. I want to feel excited. All of anything that you think that, I want that. That's how I want to be. And it can be anything at all. It doesn't really matter. If you just want to feel content and happy with what you have, great. That's what makes you happy. That is all that's important. If you want to feel excited, if you want to feel ambition, motivation, drive, all these other things, that's great too. It's different personalities, different people are going to have different wants. Again, this isn't for anybody else's eyes. This is just for you. Write down how you want to feel. So hopefully, once you've written this side of the page, you have a bit more of a smile on your face, because you're thinking about all these lovely positive emotions, and that's where you want to be. So again, if you want to take a bit of a break and put it away now, that's fine as well. But the next step is to go down that positive side, that side of all the things that you want to feel. I'd like you to go through each one and note down something that would need to happen. Something that needs to happen, or something that has to be a reality that you feel would make you feel that way. So if you want to feel excited and driven, maybe it's a new job, a career change, and something like that. I want to feel content. So that could be so to help you feel content is accepting what I have, being grateful. So note things down of what you feel will help you to feel that way. Help you, and if you're feeling stressed, so therefore you want to feel relaxed, maybe that means that there's something in your life that's stressing you out that needs to be changed. Or maybe it's something as simple as, I need a holiday, or I need a break, or I just need a day off, or I just want to sit down all weekend and read my book and not have anything to do. Anything at all that will make you feel what you want to feel, write down. Because this is going to be our baby steps to getting you on the path to how you want to feel. No matter how tiny they might feel right now and you think, ugh, that's never going to change. We're not thinking of that right now. We're not overthinking the future. We're not trying to predict things that haven't even happened yet. We're thinking about what's going on in here, and how you want to feel, and what things can happen, what things can you change to help you feel that way. Doesn't matter about the hows and whys right now, it's just what would need to happen. So if it is a career change and you're thinking, I need to retrain. I won't ever be able to do it. There's no jobs. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're thinking about. We're thinking about if that's what happened. And then the next stage in the process will be to unpack that career change. What does that mean? What industry do you want to be part of? What are you good at? What makes you happy? And how can you get there? Do you need to retrain? All of these things are way along the process and will form their own process themselves. But without some focus right here, right now, in that list, that's never going to be reached. We need to pinpoint some focus. We need to have something that you know is a change for the better. It's going to help you to feel the way you want to feel. And we're not thinking about the whys right now because that's too scary. That's too big. It's ideal world time. If that's what you want, write it down because it is possible. Doesn't matter how far away it feels. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to put the effort in, it's possible. So go down that side again of how you want to feel. Oops, sorry to knock my camera. And how all those things that need to happen or things that might need to change to enable you to feel that way. Now, I am going to ask you to definitely put it away at this point. We've unpacked everything. You've mind splurged the negative. You've mind splurged the positive. You've had to think about, it doesn't matter how long this takes you to do or how many stages it takes you to do it. But once you've done that part, you need to put it away because you've raised a lot of questions. You've probably shifted a lot of your energy. So you need to put it away overnight. Have a sleep on it and go back to it another day or a couple of days later with fresh eyes and look back through it. It's because now, when you've returned to it, look back through that positive side. All of those things you want to feel and those things that need to happen. Then you want to write on a nice, fresh new page without that negative column. We want a fresh new page of just those things. Maybe you might want to set it out a bit neater. Maybe you want to put the feeling and what needs to happen side by side so it's a little bit more organized. You can organize your thoughts. It's totally up to you and how it suits your style best. So you're going to put all of these lovely things on their own clear page, and this is going to be your focus. The very first step of moving towards how you want to feel and how you want to be is on that page. And of course, there's a lot more to this process, but now you have focus. Now you have really brought to the surface how you want to feel. You've brought to the surface what might need to happen and what might need to change. So now you can start to maybe do a little bit of research. Maybe you can start to sort of sound things out with yourself, brainstorm some ideas, all of those kind of things. To just help get you moving on that positive track. It will always start with a step like this. No matter what clients I work with or what courses I do, it always starts with kind of this some kind of splurging exercise to just get everything out, everything to the surface, and then we break it down. It has to happen like that because it has to come from within you. There are going to be blocks that you need to clear, blocks that you may not even be aware of, limiting beliefs that we need to clear, all of those kind of things. But that's where this needs to start, is by just letting the floodgates open just a little bit, with however feels comfortable with you writing these things down. And then when you have this page now with all these things about how you want to feel, it's not a case of looking at it and thinking, oh, it's impossible. Because if that's going to be your mindset, you are going to find it impossible because you don't believe that it's possible. It's a lot of mindset work to be there may be a lot of mindset work that needs to be done to enable you to do it and put those steps in place. And that's what I do. That is what I like to do with my clients, and that's what I like to do through these videos and through my podcasts. So I'm not going to leave you hanging here with just that. We will go on to do some more exercises, some other little things that you can do from here on out. But to really be able to unpack this process, then you do need to be willing to put in the work and investing your time and really kind of unpack the process. But as I said, this is a great place to start. It's a great exercise to do because it helps you clear your mind and it helps you have some focus, and it might help you with some goal setting. So if you have this list now, with these positive things that you want to feel and what needs to happen, right in there somewhere within all of that are your goals. There are your maybe something that you want to achieve next year, a goal you want to put in place that, like, okay, this time in 12 months time I want to have that box ticked. And you can start to unpack little baby steps of how to do it. You've got all this time to play with. It doesn't have to be done instantly. Very rarely will be done very quickly, because if you're going to be putting in the work in the right way, it takes a little time. But it's worth it. It's all about the long game. So try this exercise just to get everything out on paper, so you've got some focus, you've got some direction, and maybe some goals that you want to set. And we can talk about the next couple of steps over the coming. That's something I'm also going to focus on in July as well. So we've been thinking about, we're 6 months into the year now in June. This has been the theme for this month and where we're going to go. So this is what we're starting to think about now, and it's something we will touch on throughout the summer as well. If you do want to know more about that process right now, and you want to know about how to do some of this inner healing, some of this goal setting, unpacking those baby steps and ways we can do it, then I have some resources for you. I have some courses, and I offer one-to-one kind of holistic sessions. Now, this can be done in person if you are local to me, but I also offer everything I do online. So I have my online courses, and I also do online sessions over Zoom or Skype, where we can start to unpack these we can start to unpack this process for you one-to-one. And it, of course, crystals being my focus, there's a lot of crystal work involved in there, because a lot of this process is to do with energy shifts and energy blocks. So there are a lot of practical exercises we'll do, a lot of holistic exercises we'll do using energy and grounding, mindfulness, all of these kind of things to help you build up that mindset and become conscious of who you are and where you want to be, and things that affect that, things that might bring you down, and things you need around you to boost you up. It all links in. The whole point of holistic is looking at the whole picture. So that's what happens when working with me on a one-to-one basis. Or if you want to join one of the courses in my Crystal Academy, then there are various different topics which will take you through different processes, that, like what we've spoken about today, about doing some self-healing, and about how to move forward and be in a place that you want to be in that feels good. So I'm going to put a couple of links in the description for you to take a look at if that is something that you'd like to do to unpack a bit further. So there'll be a link there for my online Crystal Academy, which takes you to my workshops and online courses. And I'll also put a link there so you can go to a page on my website where it gives a lot more detail about how we can work together to use crystals and holistic techniques to enable you to start to unpack these feelings and build on them, and how to move forward. It's what I love to do. I've used these techniques myself. I can tell you a lot more about that as well if you want to chat with me, and we can talk a bit more in detail about that if you want to contact me. Again, link in the description for my socials and my website so that you can contact me directly with any questions if you want to as well. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope it gives you a starting point today to kind of start that journey for yourself, and maybe start to figure out some things that you want to maybe achieve, some steps you want to take by the end of this year, a goal for next year. I know next year probably still seems quite a while away, but it's always good to have a plan. I'm all about having a plan. Being flexible, but having a plan is really helpful, because it gives you some focus and it gives you some drive and some motivation as well if there's an end goal in mind. So I'll be back again next week with another video, and we'll talk some more about on this topic, and I'll speak to you then, and hopefully hear from you. Again, check out those links in the description, and in the meantime you can check out my crystal playlist here with all my other crystal videos, and if you haven't already, click the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything I've got going on, and I will speak to you soon.